Everybody, what's going on? What's happening? It is me, Demetra Kane, and I'm here with Donovan throwing rocks and hiding his hands to geek. You guys on Facebook Live will not be able to see him, but everybody else on YouTube and podcast, you can hear him as well. I just like to say thank you. Again, we got a
yes, Tyler.
That's our third host.
Yes, he was in the refrigerator earlier.
So again, as always on this show, it is our goal to promote understanding of the things that go on in our community so that we can be better and ultimately catapult ourselves and our race to where it needs to be in the world. And so, without further ado, I'd like to get started. Again, I solicited questions from people on Facebook and on the podcast in regards to what you guys wanted to talk about. And I got a whole host of things, but I think the majority of you guys wanted to talk about slavery and what's going on. Is my camera a little bit dark? Let me see if I can adjust it. Oh, it's dark on my end. That's why. Aha, I can see myself. Okay, yes. All right, you guys wanted to talk about slavery in Libya, ranging from what can we do, how did it happen, and all of this other stuff. So you can hear and see me. All right, awesome. All right, hey, Quentin and Al. So I'm going to get started. All right, so I got a lot of information. I want you guys to bear with me because I wanted us to get full understanding of how slavery, I don't want to say it started in Libya because it was kind of already there to a small degree, but I want to give you guys a full background as to how it blew up and why we're now hearing about it on a larger scale. Okay, so here we go. And I know other people come and say, what are we talking about? So I'm going to get started. And I got like not four pages of notes on Libya, but just notes in general. So here we go. All right. So what's going on in Libya? All right. That's what most people wanted to know. First of all, how many of you thought that Gaddafi was a bad man? From everything that you've heard about him up until the time he was murdered. I'm going to say murdered because he was murdered. A lot of us thought, oh, he's a bad man. He must go. Got to get rid of him because he's terrible and all this other stuff. Okay, so in the last couple of weeks, we've been hearing a lot about slavery that has been going on in the northern country or northern Africa, Libya. All right, but the fact of the matter is it's always been going on, but not on out in the open and on a large scale like I was saying, like it is now. All right, so ever since the murder of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011 by the United States, now let's get that right, the United States murdered him.
State Department.
Yeah, so of course they'll say, well, France was involved and all this other stuff. They were saying that, while France planes or the French planes were running, it was actually United States airmen that were driving the planes or flying the planes. I guess that's the technical term. And so, all right, so where did that go? Okay. And so, now, there was propaganda that was disseminated to the American people by the Obama administration. So now that's how Libya got to where it is now. But let's go a little bit deeper. Specifically, the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, Samantha Power, a senior aide to the National Security Council, and Susan Rice, Obama's ambassador to the United Nations, they together, these three women, fashioned all this propaganda and letting the American people know, oh my God, Gaddafi's this evil man. He's committing genocide on his own people. He must go. All right, let's go a little further. Right. So then the intervention of NATO was in a humanitarian one. Like, oh my gosh, we must go save these people. This evil dictator is killing his own people.
Well, first of all, NATO is not a humanitarian organization.
Right, but that's what they did it under. NATO must get involved. Yeah. All right, and I know this is a lot of information, but you guys, please bear with me. I'm going to get to it as fast as I can. All right, and so, so they said, oh gosh, we need to help these people. And I like to give a big side eye about that because okay. So basically, bombs were dropped on Libya and over 500,000 people were murdered due to the airstrikes. Okay, now remember, this was under the Obama administration. All right, so, but what was the real reason? Well, as a matter of fact, let's see. Well, the fact of the matter is, I'm reading my notes. Gaddafi was in the process of creating and fully funding a successful Pan-Africanism movement, which is the unification of all indigenous African people all over the world. So that's what he was, not only was he planning to do it, but he was funding it. He had a way to fund it. So he was like, okay, we're going to move away from the American dollar. So let me get back into that. All right. So let that sink in for a moment. Along with that, he was building an African satellite station, an irrigation system that would make farming possible in the desert setting, among other things that will help Libya and other African countries thrive and just be away from everybody else. Like, you know what? We got it from here. Thank you. All right. And guess what? He didn't need U.S. dollars to do any of that. He was using gold instead. Libya would have been the first and only country to have the means to back up its plans with their own resources. They didn't need outside dollars or anything. They were going to be able to back up their own things with their own currency. Okay, and so also Gaddafi, along with other African nations, was in the process of creating an African central bank. They were striving to pull away from the central bank that is mostly controlled by the United States of America. And you know a lot about this, so you correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Because I was researching.
Okay. So far, so good.
All right. So in a nutshell, Libya was becoming a very stable government. All right. Now, remember, though, Clinton and them was like, no, they're killing their people and all this other stuff. So by now, you're probably wondering, well, what's wrong with all of that? All I just said, what's wrong with that? Okay. So all of the aforementioned information posed a great threat to the central government because if Libya was successful and fully stabilizing their government, that would have potentially bankrupt the other economies around the world because they would have no dependencies on the worthless dollar. Mm-hmm. And that's why the lie about Gaddafi committing genocide was crafted. All right. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong, too, because I know a lot of y'all know about what's going on out there. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Stay woke.
Stay woke. All right. So the contrary was true, though. The people of Libya benefited from free housing, health benefits, education, and a whole host of other things that made life easy for them. Like they were living good. Now, was everything perfect? No, but damn, free housing, free education, free health care. All right. That doesn't sound like, a homicidal maniac is running things to me. Okay, so now Libya is a failed state that has been in civil war since Gaddafi's murder. Damn near the whole country is dilapidated due to constant war. Now, ISIS has taken a stronger foothold in the area. What else is going on? Among any other issues, slavery has become bigger and bigger. Now, Nigerians seeking refuge from what they're going through, they're passing through Libya, and then the Libyan rebels are like, hey, what do we have here? Oh, okay, we're going to human traffic you and then put you into slavery. And so that's how slavery has just gone out of control. They have two governments, essentially. They have a militia, and then they have the elected officials who are that's where the civil war is coming from. So there is nobody really running things. And in the process, the whole area is just gone to shit, for lack of better words. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm almost done here, and then I'm going to get to you guys' comments. All right, and so it should also be noted. Now, this is a quote, you guys. So for a lot of people were saying, oh, my gosh, Hillary, she's, she was such a better president and all sorts of stuff. This is a quote from Hillary Clinton. Okay, she says during an interview, we came, we saw, and he died. That's what she said about Gaddafi after they crafted this nonsense that he was killing his people. She was happy and she laughed about it. She was like, ha, 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 ha. Seriously. All right. So now she worked for Obama. So who's ultimately responsible for the modern day slavery in Libya? Now, Benny, you asked, who are the perpetrators of this act? And so somebody else said, what can we do about it? And that's what I want to ask you guys. What are your thoughts on Obama? Obama, it was his administration that, carried out the airstrikes on the Libyan people. Now, he said he had some regrets, but he would do it all over again. Had the opportunity, he would do it again. And so you have a lot of people, and a lot of you guys, and I promise you I'm going to get to your comments. A lot of people say, slavery is wrong, which it is. I'm not saying it's not, but people aren't educating themselves as to how it got there. So I admit I voted for Obama twice. And before I really educated myself about what was going on in Libya, I thought, okay, well, maybe Gaddafi had to go. But then once you do your research, you're like, wait a second. So This guy that we love so much, Obama, how lovable is he after hearing all of that information that I just read? And so I'll get to you guys' comments. Let's see, who did I miss? Richard, what's happening? Long time no see. You said, I think he was complicated. You talking about Gaddafi, you think he was complicated? And then Terry said, yes, they murdered Gaddafi. Yes, they did. And then Benny says, who are the people perpetrating the actual acts of slave trade? See, I didn't even see that comment, but I remember you said that yesterday. And we're going to get to that. And Terry said Gaddafi would eventually run white Southern Africans out of Africa. Mm-hmm. And Benny says it went from the richest country in Africa to the poorest and most unstable. Absolutely. And so Benny said, who are the perpetrators of the actual slave trade? Well, they're saying that it's the Libyan rebels, whoever that is. I don't know. It's a good question. I probably should have looked to see, but exactly what that entails. Do you have any information about that, Donovan?
Well, wow, it just so happens. You guys got to remember, Al Qaeda was a organization that was actually started by the American CIA to fight the Russians. Mm-hmm. So these so-called unnamed rebels are actually mercenaries being paid for by the oil corporations in Libya to keep everything disrupted and keep it a failed state so that they can plunder the petroleum reserves in Libya. The worst thing you can do as a leader of a nation today is get rid of your nuclear weapons.
Right. And then they also, did the same thing with Saddam.
Exactly.
He was this horrible person, and and all the research that I did, you can see
had nothing to do with 9/11.
Oops. Right. Or even Osama.
Right.
All these leaders, they were, in the process of stabilizing their government and all this other stuff, and because Saddam, they said he was moving away from the what he called what the American dollar is trading on. He was actually moving to the euro market.
Yeah, the euro market, right.
Trading the oil on the euro market and moving away.
At that time, it was a higher
yield. And so shortly after that, he was this terrorist. He was this evil dude,
You always got to have an enemy so that... Have you noticed that the United States, we only pick on countries that can't defend themselves?
Right. And so... Gaddafi was warning all the other African nations, we need to stick together. And I think he knew right after he said that, what his plans were, that he had the target on his back. And so he's like, we got to move quickly.
Well, actually, he didn't have the target on his back until he agreed to get rid of his nuclear weapons.
Okay.
Yeah, because up until then, we didn't fuck with him.
Right.
So keep your nuclear weapons. If you develop them quickly.
Okay. Hey, Marcus. You say the use of organized African slavery anywhere is global African people's call to action. How we continue to respond will determine many things. If this reminder does not fit your post, my apologies. You said that on the other one too. My apologies. But we must have the same focus if we are really to bring a global African call to action. You say hashtag global African unity now. Okay, but let me ask you, Marcus, what could we... or should we be doing? What should we be doing? Because a lot of people are asking that question. Well, what do we do? And, I'm not trying to be a pessimist because I'm far from that. But I've seen a lot of people ask the question as to, or say, we can't even save ourselves over here. How are we going to go save people in Libya? And I'm not saying we shouldn't, but the question is how and what should we be doing? And Beanie say, what do you think Kim Jong-un is so adamant? You said, why do you think Kim Jong-un is so adamant about not giving up his nukes? Well, to Donovan's point, if I give them up, then that's my ass.
Exactly. When two or more countries have a nuclear weapon, nobody could use it.
Right.
That's why there hasn't been a nuclear confrontation since we are the only country that's...
And then he also fired didn't he fire off a nuke last week?
Yes, that can reach the United States now, supposedly.
They said in like 20 minutes or something like that.
So everybody was calling me, we're going to war. No, we're not. Because people got to also remember, if a nuclear war ever happened, the economies would collapse.
Just straight up.
And so the 1% that control the 90%, is that beneficial for them to initiate a nuclear war?
Yeah, so Trump talks a good game.
Yeah,
we're not going to let him get away with that.
Right, it's not going to happen.
It's been a week.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
They have too much to lose.
And Al says, shame on the person who wanted you to talk about this complicated topic. Well, you know what? It's not really complicated, but actually, a lot of people people wanted me to talk about just the slavery. But it's like, yeah, we can talk about the slavery, but we need to understand how the slavery got such a stronghold in that area. It's not just because people are like, let's start slavery again. You think, slavery should be something we should bring back. It wasn't even like that. It's just, there's so many levels to it, and people need to understand. And, we voted for Obama. I think a lot of us, if we thought that Obama was, going to, do what he did, we probably would have thought twice, but then maybe we wouldn't have.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that because we didn't vote for Obama. Obama was selected.
Okay, but I'm saying overall, we walked our ass in a booth and checked Obama.
Well, of course we did. But even if he won overwhelmingly by the popular vote, that doesn't elect him anyway.
True.
He was selected.
Right.
And it doesn't matter who is in the presidency. There is an agenda in this country that the corporations and the multi-trillionaires have an agenda. If they don't like a certain thing, it isn't like Obama would have stopped that.
Well, no, I'm saying, but he is the first black president, and then you go over there and kill 500,
of course,
1,000.
But he didn't do that. That was the agenda that was set in motion that he can't stop.
Right,
and he can do. So he's just a figurehead to make you and I feel better.
Right.
That's all it is.
All right. And so, Marcus, you say we have to start a national campaign. We have to campaign for unity like they campaign for president. We have to campaign for, okay, you said that so twice. I get it. Because I think a lot of people will say, well, we are striving for unity. We're getting better and we got things that are in place and this, that, and the other. But the question is how? How do we bring about change in stopping slavery? Now, I would imagine now that maybe the UN is going to get involved and, all that other stuff.
We control the UN.
Okay, so maybe, we control the UN, but the UN kind of started the slavery off over there.
Right.
They didn't go and say to start slavery, but...
So do you actually think it's going to stop?
No, it's not. So... I don't know.
Can I ask you this, Steve?
Yeah, ask me.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
because I didn't know what I was going to say. No way.
Yeah. Do you actually think... Okay, they're starting this for a reason. 1% of the population controls all of the wealth in the world.
Right.
It is not beyond imagination that they want slavery to happen. Because what are you going to do about it?
Well, actually, so that's what I'm asking Marcus. And I'm not trying to be, give you a hard time, Marcus, because I get it. There's something needs to be done. But to Donovan's point, what are we going to do? What can we do?
There's nothing.
We can't even shut down a liquor store. There's these brothers, like I said, in Los Angeles. They've been boycotting this liquor store in hopes of shutting it down. It's not like a big conglomerate grocery store. It's a liquor store, like a mom and pop.
I'm just going in there to get some zigzags.
Yeah, we can't even shut those people down. Now, and I'm not saying we should just shut them down just because. They're brutalizing the people that live in a community and selling them bad food, just treating them bad. But yet these brothers have been out there for over 80 days. And yet the store is still open.
And still making money.
So I'm not trying to be a jerk, but we can't even shut those things down. How are we going to go all the way over there and stop slavery? And so you also say, no, we are not. So seriously, we are playing at a movement and we are playing at action. Well, I don't disagree with you on that. We have definitely played a lot, which is why Black people are in the condition we are now. But, just to say, hashtag is cute. Stop slavery in Libya and all. That's all cute. It is, but at the end of the day, what we going to do? We can say we need a movement. We need to stop playing. And I agree with you 5,000% on all of that. But at the end of the day, what's the action? What's the action plan? What's the strategy? What are we going to do? And I would say this too. I'm more upset that we keep finding ourselves. Hey, Jonelle, I was starting to wonder if you was in jail, but I see you're not.
I was in jail for a day.
Facebook jail.
I was in for a day. I'm right behind you, brother.
I just keep getting more upset at the fact that we keep finding ourselves wherever we are all over the world in this situation. Is like, when are we going to say, okay, like it's 2017. We ain't talking about indentured. Some of them are indentured servant, but I'm talking about like some real life slavery block action. That's what's going on over there. Like these people are being auctioned on a slave block.
Well, you got to remember, we have gotten to a disparity in the wealth that is so far in between the richest and the poorest, that nobody's doing anything. They're not going to do. We've shown, as a regular people have shown, we are not going to do nothing no matter what they do.
And I'm going to get into that about the tax thing too. Okay. I mean, because that's, that kind of is, piggybacking off of what you just said. Yep. And so, I mean, what can we do? I mean, I think there's I don't know. I mean, I'm really stuck. And
it's an enigma.
I'm not normally like flabbergasted or not really have a lot of answers, because I don't have a problem saying I don't know. And so I don't know. But I think it's important for us to understand how it got that way in Libya. I read a fantabulous book years ago called The Tattooed Soldier. I can't remember his name was Hector somebody. It's called The Tattooed Soldier. And the book was talking about, it was, in Ecuador. It took place. And a lot of the people over there were migrating, or immigrating, I guess you could say, over here to the United States. And so, you have a lot of people say, oh, these people are coming. I'm going to get you guys' comments. Oh, these people keep coming over to our country. Well, the book highlighted, was fiction, but, it touched on a lot of stuff that was real. It says, it's not like we're just coming over here because we don't like our country. It says, let's talk about how the United States funds the militaries over there, the guerrilla, whatever they call it, the forces, and they murder people, who are activists, who may stand up, who are
priests, whatever,
all those people. So they're fleeing persecution, so they're coming over to the United States. In this particular book, this guy was a doctor. And he ended up working as a dishwasher at this, funky old diner. He was sleeping under a bridge because they had murdered his family. And he was like, I'm not just a nobody who's coming over here trying to take your... I'd rather be home. But the American government made it so that I could not be home, and that's why I'm here. So, I mean, I know it's complicated. Al, he said, you and Donovan desperately need some water because this topic is trying to pull y'all back in slavery. Hashtag never ending. Well, you know what, Al? All jokes aside, I mean, there are things that we need to discuss, plain and simple. I mean, everything, we like to have fun, but it's hard for us to say, well, we need to stop slavery.
Right.
And not understand how it got there. I mean, we need to have these conversations.
Or at least be aware.
Be aware. I mean, like, to me, I knew a little bit about what was going on in Libya, but when I sat down yesterday for like 5 hours,
wow.
Because I really wanted to know. I didn't want to just be one of those people, stop slavery. And then somebody asked me, well, what do you know what's going on? No, I just know they got people in slavery over there. I wanted to be informed. And so, Marcus, you say, and forgive me if I'm getting your comments a little slow, I'm just because they're coming up slow. And Marcus says, we have to get our feet on the ground and start organizing with those who know. We need to get like-minded people into a room and put a plan together and start a national campaign that builds into a movement. People are ready, but leadership starts with you and I. Our people are waiting for new faces with true dedication. No, I absolutely agree.
Marcus, great idea, great commentary. Shit's not going to happen because the minute you do that, you're in collusion, and they're going to charge you with
being a black identity extremist.
Right.
Well, and to his point, though, I mean, we all know that freedom is not free.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Unfortunately, I'm not saying anybody that's a civilian is a civilian, but there's a lot of civilians that are individuals that will not put their lives and their families' lives on the line,
because it doesn't affect me. Right. And so, no, I absolutely agree, Marcus. We do need to get like a real solid plan. I absolutely agree. And that is what's missing in our community. We don't have unity past meeting at grandma's for
exactly, because there's always going to be somebody in the group that's going to get the radio show or get the MSNBC slot or something that's going to I mean, he's right on it.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
So Jonelle, he says, it's really on those being enslaved and those who are there. It's against such action to war with the enslavers. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the white man will be ran out of, Africa, and will have no resting place anywhere but America. And that's what's happening now. Is only assisting that. And Al is right. Slavery never stopped. No, I mean, it's been here for forever, and it's probably going to be here But I question, like, why does it always got to be us?
Because we're the ones that are willing to take the state money,
right,
and do the most. Like I said, 13% of the American population is black, but yet we comprise 70% of jails, which by Constitution makes you a slave.
Well, true, yeah.
And economically, we're slaves because the white man's ISIS, which you talk about all the time, is colder than ours. So we might not be a perpetual slave as in Libya,
right,
but we are an economic slave as compared to what's going on right now.
You said a mouthful, brother. Said a mouthful. And then so Marcus says, you cannot say that until we try. No, listen,
we're not saying that.
I totally agree. I'm not saying we shouldn't try. We should try. I mean, that's what we talk about all the time is unity. Mm-hmm. But we got to get there. And so I agree. It does start with you and I. Me and Donovan talk about it all the time.
Donovan and I.
Me and I. You sound like Al now. And I said, it ain't no, you ain't got no. Oftentimes people are looking for somebody to lead them. Like, I'm just going to sit right here and wait for somebody to lead me. But you're right. The leader starts with us. Well, we have to lead.
Well, tell them the story about me in the neighborhood that I live in. Here's somebody who's progressive and wants to do better for the community and has done better for the community. But what happened?
Nothing happened.
They rather elect a bank robber or somebody that is a criminal of origin because.
And then when they elect the wrong person, they want you to save them.
They want you to save them.
And he also say, and please tell the brother on the side, do not put a negative spin on work that has not been done or tried. Well, okay, let me ask you this, Marcus, because I think maybe me and Donovan are a little confused. Can you give us a little bit more specific as to what you're speaking about? Because when we say unity, that's very broad. Mm-hmm. It's very broad, and I think we are mistaken if we try to sit up here and say that. Oh, it's easy for black people to unify. Yeah. Because like I said, I talk about this liquor store all the time that we need to get down there.
Yes, we will.
But, I mean, these brothers they're rightfully trying to shut this place down, and they can't do it. Because we don't know how to unify. I mean, these brothers are out there trying. Daily to get this store shut down. But yet, we keep on going up in there. And so when you say, not to put a negative spin on it. I don't think we're trying to put a negative spin. We're honestly trying to understand exactly what you're talking about. So forgive us for our ignorance. And then so, let's see, Al says, okay, don't feel bad. It's raining bad out here in Houston and I'm light-skinned and I'm driving. So don't feel bad. The girls made this house inward, come out in the field. You know what? Just get home safely, okay? Hey, Secret Guard says population numbers are not true. Why do we believe in pollsters? Well, I agree. I agree what you're saying about pollsters, but I don't think it's that hard to ascertain that we are
13%
roughly
of the population.
13 to 15% of the population.
Mm-hmm. That's factual. That's true. That's factual.
I used to work for the census, and I know
we're not growing because we're in jail. 15% of us are gay, and then we're killing each other on a high clip. So that's factual.
And then so Jonelle says it's us cause all. Oh wait. I think you said it's because all economics and wealth is centered on blood sucking from us all over the planet. Our oppressions have its roots in math and regulating us for such resources. Yeah. I mean, we know that's why a lot of the African governments have, I mean, even some will question with the president, I just slipped my mind, that just got overthrown. Mugabe. Some people will argue, that's what happened with him, This is about the white man, taking foothold again and, all this other stuff. And this really is about resources. And Secret Guardian said, we are not the minority. No, and I know where you're going with that. When we call ourselves not minority, we didn't call ourselves a minority. What he said was we are. Okay, so if you agree that we're about 13% or so of the population, put a thumbs up. Because I don't see where, it's, as Jonelle says, do the math. Math doesn't lie. Mm-hmm. And so, no, I get what you're saying when you say we're not a minority. I totally get where you're going with that, but we're speaking in terms of numbers. And Tom says, I love you, Demetra K. I love you, too. Thank you. I'm feeling the love. Donovan has a show called The Hot Seat, and today y'all got us on the hot seat.
Yes, absolutely.
Senior Girl says, what percentage are the Italian? You know what? I don't know.
Okay, I'm a numbers guy.
Go ahead.
I can answer that. Now, when you say black, it encompasses a lot of black things. If you're half black or whatever it does, according to the American thing. If you say Italian, which is basically white.
True.
So you just got to say it like this. White people comprise right now in the United States 54% of the population. Period. That's according to the census. Period.
That's Donovan. Okay, and Benny says, the question is, how concerned are we, and what we are feeling, just like outrage? Then we tend to show from week to week and news cycle to news cycle. Us in this thread having a particular discussion, it says Seymour, I think that's what you can say. I always lose sight. This discussion are only a small microcosm of concern that are even willing to talk about it, even to this extent where we are frustrated with our helplessness. But what about the majority of our people out there that know about it or may have heard about it, but aren't really concerned one bit because they're not directly affected by it? So we just put it in out of our minds and continue with our lives. But that's the complacent attitude that will have this strategy at yours and mine's doorstep quicker than one would think. And that's all we're saying. So, to your point, Benny, and, to address some of what Marcus was saying, it's not that all of us are not concerned. As you said, us in this discussion, we're concerned, but it takes more than just us. Yeah. And I'm not saying other people aren't having these type of discussions, but it's not enough people having it. And like you said, like we said a minute ago, if it doesn't directly affect you, it's like, as my mom would say, not my monkey, not my show. Right. It don't got nothing to do with me.
But the good thing is that we are having discussions and exchanging ideas and doing what we're doing here. So, I mean, there is no wrong answer unless it's a wrong answer.
And Secret Guard wants to know, what about the British? See, now you nitpicking.
Well, okay. If we want to go by numbers, 1.2 billion people of the population are identified as white.
Does that help?
There you go.
Al says, me and the brother on the side don't believe that broads need to be in slavery. What?
Al, I need you to prepare the joke of the day. Please. Joke of the day.
No, bring it. No, I'm just playing. So Secret Guard says, what about the Irish? Okay, listen, Secret Guard, I'm not really for sure where you're going with this. Yeah. And honestly, I'm not really concerned with what they are doing. We're using the numbers as 13% to just kind of highlight where we are in America. And that's a true statement. I mean, so I don't know what the Puerto Ricans are and, the Skittish, if that's even so.
Skittish, the British,
the
Skittish.
Polish. Yeah. I don't know what they are. I mean, and let me ask you this, should I be concerned with that? Al says, the hot seat, the black viewers' ice is not colder than y'all. Secret Guard says, play along and view so-called whites as they view themselves Irish. Yes. I mean, but I think if you ask an Irish person, a Polish person, what they are, other than Irish, they're gonna say they're white.
Wait a minute. Yeah, exactly. You're identified as white. It's just a group. There's only 5 major colors in the world: red, white, black, brown, and what's the other one? I'm sorry, and yellow. Sorry. Purple. Yeah, purple. No.
Blue, black.
No, yeah.
10 Shades of Midnight.
But basically, according to genetics and stuff, there's only 5 colors in the world.
All right. So Samuel, what's happening? Says, I don't know what the topic at the moment is, but when we make a move in white supremacy world, we must learn and understand that the art of war. We must begin to think international, where we are the majority. Okay, so I agree with that, but just to maybe play devil's advocate a little bit, we live here.
We're behind enemy lines, and dog.
I'm with you guys. Marcus Garvey had the same concept. It was working until, somebody threw a monkey wrench in it. And so here we are basically at base 1, where we need to figure out how we're going to organize here. I agree we should be thinking internationally. Internationally, we are not the minority, okay? But how do we fix it here first? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I can be wrong a lot.
Well, you got to take care of home before you worry about somebody else's situation.
That's what I heard, but yeah. Benny says, right, the discussion is our own personal think tank. Yeah. I mean, it's nice here, but how do we promote this message that way and outward? And Marcus, she says, we have to go door to door and sit down with our people and youth. We have to organize events that bring people out. We have to start talking about this. Talk at the dinner table and in the workplace. Let's see more.
Absolutely.
Where to go? Workplace. We have to get 100 to reach 1,000. Our people like aggressive movements, and that requires mental marketing in our Black communities. Go into the churches and request to speak. Good luck. And stop being so nice about unity. The time is now, and the chances. Now, no, I agree. I do think we need to be aggressive, but I think we need to think about how we're going to be aggressive. Because I'm going to tell you like this. I'm in public relations, and I know it's all about delivery. Now, I see a lot of Facebook revolutionaries who, like to call people names and, you guys are stupid, you're idiots, and, you're sleep. And, oh, my God, nobody's going to listen to that message. But I do absolutely agree. We do need to get some boots on the ground. And, yes, let's door knock. But not even door knocking. How many times do you walk by, not you specifically, Marcus, but how many times do you walk by another brother or sister and don't speak to them? We do that a lot. So, before we go knocking on doors, we need to at least say, how you doing, sister? I do that.
I try to do that, but when I see that fist ball, I keep on walking. I keep on walking.
We need to be a little bit more open with everybody. Sure. So, no, I absolutely agree with your approach 100%. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
He's on it.
Hey, Sean. He says, Queen, it's been a minute. Yes, it has. You say, I truly believe you need to look at the information I sent you. It can help our people tremendously in terms of learning and understanding money, finances, and what real money is and how to generate long-term residual generational wealth and leaving a legacy for our bloodlines. Could be a great topic for your show and a blessing for thousands. You know what? You kind of beat me to it because on one of these shows, I'm going to invite my little brother.
Dr. Jeremiah?
Dr. Jeremiah.
Yes.
We were actually talking about Bitcoin. And he was, put me up on game because I was asking about investing. And he dropped some jewels. And so I thought maybe we could have him on our show.
Absolutely.
As if he'll show up. You guys are beneath me. And Secret Guard says, we are the 13%, but I'm calling Italian. You're calling Italian what? What do you call them? Vinny says, this is how ideals are born, out of genuine concern. Yes. There is no right or wrong answer. There's going to take a lot of strategies and, brainstorming to get to us to where we need to go. Absolutely. And Samuel says, and greetings, my sister. Greetings to you as well, my brother. Al says, this topic is keeping me in slavery. So like Jay-Z said, on to the next one. You know we got serious something's wrong with you.
Isn't that your man?
It is. And Secret Guard says, D, ask a Polish person what they are. All right. Yeah, they're probably going to say, I'm Polish. But if they
that's a nationality. Yeah. That's a nationality.
Thank you, brother. Okay. Thank you. Did you hear what he said?
That's a nationality.
That's a nationality.
I'm an American, but I am a Black American.
Marcus. You say, Secret Guard, why you trying to make little gray hairs come out, ain't you? Marcus, she says, we have to go door to door and sit down with our people. I think I read that one already. Yeah. Okay. But I agree. And you said mental marketing is the key. Yes, mental marketing is the key. And we also have to, in a lot of cases, we have to, is there unbrainwashing a word?
Yeah.
Deprogram.
Deprogram.
We have to, because Benny talks about this a lot. We do have to kind of deprogram ourselves and reprogram ourselves into the things that we should be doing, because as Benny always says, we can talk and say this is what we need to do, but until we get rid of the mindset that's keeping us where we are, we're not ever going to go anywhere. It's just you're going to be just beating it into something that's not going to absorb.
To Marcus's point, instead of, we need to knock on doors and stuff like that, but wouldn't it be easier if we would just start teaching this in the home?
Yeah, and he did say that too.
Yeah.
It starts at home.
Yeah, it starts at home. Absolutely.
I can't teach the next door neighbor if I ain't taught my kids. Right. Me and my man ain't talking about it. So no, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that if it's ingrained from the time that we're, we
absolutely
make a great strides.
And Secret Garden, you say Irish live here and Irish are a minority. Get your mind. Don't allow your enemies to tell you who they are. And you says, or who we are. Irish talk to Italians and they call each other by their nationality. Listen, one thing I try not to do is let somebody tell me who I am. Anybody who knows me will tell you I know who I am. Okay? And so now when we speaking into, now that's the black woman coming out.
Oh, here it is. Oh, shit.
I'm just messing with you. But no, I agree. I get what you're saying, because when you call yourself a minority, you're basically saying you're less than. And I'm not speaking in those terms. We are speaking numerically as far as percentage-wise in America. And that's not debatable. We are 13%.
Yeah.
You show me, Senior Garden, I impress upon you to do this. Since that's like a sore point with you. Show me some data that says that we are not 13%.
We might be lower than that. So, right. But, a quick story. I was born Donovan Patrick Malloyd, which is all Irish. And I have Irish blood, but I'm a black man.
Black is 10 Shades of Midnight.
There it is.
I'm just playing.
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes. And Marcus is start posting information everywhere, banners, flyers, signs, and radio. I agree. And that's why, along with my show, me and Donovan have a show that we do.
We do several shows.
Yeah, I agree with that. But you know what the problem is, Marcus? Maybe you can help me with this. How do you get people to take this information? Because I guarantee you, me and Donovan started this show talking about we finna show y'all a bunch of twerkers. Now, maybe y'all wouldn't tune in. I guarantee you, if we had, because this is a green screen now, but when you guys see it on YouTube, you'll see it. We had a bunch of women twerking. We said we got some twerkers that's in the studio. And, we was talking about Nicki Minaj.
We would monetize the whole page. It would blow up. It would blow up.
But so we need to figure out, how do we get people to accept this information? I think that's a good question. Samuel says, our home is our home. And I know where you're going with this. Is 196 or 940 million, I think that's million, square miles of the planet Earth. Yep. I know where you got that from.
Where did you get it from?
My dad has a wisdom book, and I read that thing. Like Marcus Garvey said, a strong man at home, Africa is a strong man anywhere. It says, King Toure said, we will never be free until Africa is free. Yes, I saw that quote somewhere the other day. But no, absolutely. I mean, but how do we get there? You know?
One thing I can say about being on this show and helping you do this show is I'm learning so much from a lot of your listeners. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have some really intelligent people. Because I'm going to tell you guys that are listening, on some of our other shows, D earns the hate.
I earn the hate, yeah. Okay.
She earns the hate.
This is a no coon zone over here and over there, okay? And so Secret Girl said, that's it. I'm attempting to program this conversation. Well, you're failing miserably. No, I'm just playing it. Al said, okay, since this topic is keeping me in slavery in this house, nigga, you so silly. It's going to go inside and watch the Carol Burnett 50th anniversary special. Oh, God. You boo. Reverse propaganda. All right. So since we beat this horse to death, now we're going to go into something that's a little less sexier. We're going to talk about taxes, because a lot of people wanted me to talk about taxes. And listen, let me tell y'all something. I had a background in financial services and all that, so I could talk to financial lingo a little bit. But taxes, I had to do my research on this. Okay, so as you guys know, Trump and them, and I'll read Sean your point before going. So I totally agree. Once we can make the paradigm adjustment, then we can begin to have a lot more, because we've been mentally conditioned for so long. We have not gotten access to a bunch of blessings. That's right in front of our faces, but the other half do it all day, every day, while looking us right in our faces. And then Al says, yes, poor horse. Kwame Ture. And I should have knew that's who you meant. But anyway, so back to the taxes. Trump and them passed this tax bill in the wee hours of Saturday morning when everybody was asleep after they came home for partying and stuff. Mm-hmm. They passed this tax reform is what it was. And so I took a lot of notes, but I'm going to try not to read them, go off the top of my head. What had happened was, they basically gave the rich, the super rich, these big tax breaks. And so instead of paying 35% taxes, they're going to get a cut to 20%. And the poor people are going to go up from 11% to 15%. And the middle class are just pretty much screwed. And they also took out a portion of the Obamacare Act,
the
mandate, saying that you have to get in medical insurance. So they took that out. So now what happens is, they said about 13 million people are going to be kicked off of their insurance because, for one, insurance is very expensive. And so the insurance companies might not want to play anymore. They'll say, you know what, we're out of this, Affordable Care Act market. And so going to leave the middle class having to pay for it because they can't qualify for it anymore, and it's going to be too expensive. And a lot of people who have pre-existing conditions and all that other stuff need medical care are just simply not going to be able to afford it. And in podcast, please come back. I know we're ending the first segment, but come on back for the second one. So anyway,